Okay. Verifying yes. Okay, we're live. Fireside chat number 273. Not a whole lot. We haven't had any announcements in a while. Happy New Year, of course. Other than that, um, yeah, I mean, kind of quiet right now. Fair bit of LOAs, holidays, etc. If I might post here. I am working on the Alpha Blot story. Still, I know I promised that. That's my bad. I shouldn't have made that a event or a festival prize, knowing that I hadn't actually started it or anything. I would actually have to start it from scratch, and I haven't really had time to do that. So I have started it, made some progress on it, but it's going to be some time, and hopefully it will actually be somewhat good and worth the wait. But yes, it will be a spooky story, unfortunately, long after the end of the spooky season. But maybe it will still be fun. Officer meeting as well. That's coming up this Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. So make sure you are there if you're a CO. Also, COs, you need to have participated in a lecture from last year. Most people have not, unless I missed some. So I'm going to be getting in touch with everybody who hasn't. That is a requirement. You need to have commented on one, or if you want to host your own. If you still want to host your own, I'm okay with that counting for last year, but you need to talk to me immediately about planning what it's going to be, and then we can give you some time to like work on material or like write it out or plan it out or whatever you need to do. So you don't need to do it right away, but you need to know that you intend to do that immediately. Because if you don't, then you need to comment on one of the lectures. There's like 10, I think, at least now on YouTube. I know I said I was hoping to do two towards the end of last year and I only got one done, so I might do one more, and maybe we'll still let that count. But in the meantime, yes, COs, make sure that you complete that lecture requirement. Okay, and other than that, we're talking a fair bit in the Council of Houses. Um, it was brought up kind of some of the questions about reservists and guests and kind of what's like the new person experience or maybe even the returning person experience like in WA. So we're kind of talking about that, bandying some ideas about the big one being, or not the big one, but a few of them being. Let me open up that chat actually because I'm not remembering too many of them. I know something I have planned pretty soon here is to try to redo the About WA channel. I think we might potentially try to limit or combine a few channels or do something like that. We'll see. I want to bring this up in all thing and such, but um, potentially just trying to make things a little bit easier. The game channels are kind of a doozy because there's a ton of them and they're all there, and kind of the system it works right now is, well, if you aren't interested in a game channel, then you can mute that channel and then hide the muted channels on Discord. And then it's fine, but it's kind of a little bit of, it's a fair bit of work, honestly, to do that. So we could potentially allow game channels to be kind of opt in, but I'm definitely not really sure on that. I kind of really like that they're just open to anybody. I think we see a lot of kind of cross pollination, if you will, as far as people just going all over many different game channels that play many different games, even just to like comment on something, even if they don't play. I think having the interaction is really good. Kind of becoming like clique-ish, clique-esque, secluded, sort of very divided is something that's kind of plagued WA throughout its history. So I think that having that interaction across our games and platoons is good. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure on that, but something we were talking about. Some of the things we might do, maybe combine some of the channels in WAS Vigilant, perhaps have a separate voice channel category, maybe make like a get started channel so you can kind of combine a few channels, like maybe join WA, get roles, whatever. I don't know. I mean, these are all just potential ideas. I don't think anything we're doing in that department right now is like terrible. But perhaps it could be improved. Perhaps the changes wouldn't be a net benefit. I don't know. If you're in the Council of Houses, feel free to chime in. But yeah, I'll probably kind of throw some of that stuff in Command Center or the all thing as well, just for people to kind of chat about. But this is probably a little ways down the horizon, unless it's like real small stuff, like redoing about WA. It's not a small thing, but I mean, it's really just a documentation change, so it's not like it's going to have a huge impact or anything. So that's probably something that we'll try to do. I think probably what I'll do with that. I think I've mentioned it, but probably just like have probably yeah, we'll see. So probably we'll have the organization stuff that you see at the bottom of About WA. We'll just have that in there. Um, and then maybe above or below that have maybe 2 embed messages from Sanctifico that each have like half a dozen buttons at the bottom, and each button is going to link to one of those categories that you see in About WA right now. And instead of all being their own threads, those will all be part of one single thread. Might just call it the All-Purpose Guide to WA as kind of a throwback to what we used to do years and years ago. Just kind of have one sort of giant thread and just have a lot of ways to navigate to different parts of it, as opposed to having to scroll through this whole thing and just not really having a convenient way to find what you're looking for. Whereas if you had just those 1 or 2 embed messages with all those buttons, you could kind of see a list of categories just on one screen really easily and go to the one that you want. So that is probably something we'll do. Along with that, I think a small thing. Actually, I want to make a note of this just so I don't forget. But I think the ranks category should have links to every single rank, like in like a table of contents at the top, because that's just a huge, or not ranks category, but you know what I mean, the ranks portion of About WA. Yeah. So yeah, I think redoing that will just be, I mean, a small kind of housekeeping, tidying up thing that could be an improvement. Um, Other than that, yeah, I mean, there's some things like suggestions in Join WA where it's kind of debatable because it's like, yeah, could we combine all these into something like Start Here or whatever? Probably, but the nice thing about having them as their own channel is that it's really obvious what they're for, and they're really easy to find because they're right there. It's like, okay, where would I go to put suggestions? Well, that's obvious to anybody who's looking, which is nice. Uh, Granted, the suggestion box sees pretty dang infrequent use, so I mean, I would maybe a couple times a year would be my guess. Um, so maybe it's not worth taking up the space as its own channel. I don't know, but that gives some insight into some of the things that we were talking about in the Council of Houses, and that will probably be brought up in Command Center. Of course, even if you aren't in Command Center or whatever, I mean, you can always comment and chat and such. Other than that, let's see. Yeah, that's about it. We're kind of working on the division and platoon rollout potentially as well, probably end of January or early February. So we'll see, but we're kind of waiting on that. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. And otherwise, I'll have my office hours shortly.